We're live from another unusual location. This time, it's the Austin airport. Fairly late at night, it's past 10 o'clock. Got to lay over here and have a few minutes before my plane comes in from Orlando and then takes me to Nashville. The 49ers off-season program finished, finito, wrapped up, complete. 49ers minicamp is over. They're going to be back in the facility in, 7 weeks? And we're going to get to see the type of improvements that their players make over this time. But I have to say, now it's finally time to sit back and package what we've seen over the past few weeks, right? And I really think that we entered this offseason program wondering, like, just completely in the dark about what Trey Lance was going to look like. We knew what Sam Darnold mechanically was going to look like, but we knew that Trey Lance was going to surprise us just from an aesthetic standpoint because he had to rework a lot of the mechanics. They weren't good enough to be successful at the NFL level entering this training, this mini camp or this entire OTA period. And we also knew that he had been putting in diligent work with Jeff Christensen. And sorry, I'm in an airport. I know that we're going to have some PA announcements coming over the loudspeakers here, so it's probably not going to be the cleanest live as far as audio goes, but I'm dedicated to kind of bringing the nuance to this Trey Lance discussion. And I will have to say that after I saw him for 4 practices here, I didn't get to see all of the practices. We were in for 1 per week and then 2 this week for the 49ers veteran minicamp. I do have to say that he looks like a significantly improved quarterback. Now, the highlight of the practice today was a Trey Lance low light, but the 49ers highlight, I thought, of the entire offseason program, biggest play, most rousing reaction from the 49ers sideline came when Trey Lance threw a pick six today to Kerry Hyder. And it was an ugly play on Trey Lance's part. He panicked when the pressure in his face. I don't know exactly what he should have done instead because I don't have access to the game tape. I'm sure the coaches are looking at it right now. But Hyder broke free. Lance was under pressure, point blank range. It looked like a panic throw from Trey Lance, threw it right into Kerry Hyder's chest. Hyder returns it for a pick six. Talanoa Hufanga is not even playing, goes crazy. He's telling the media to write about it. I mean, 49ers defense had their moment in the sun, right? And when you just focus on that one play, which I think a lot of people did today on social media, you kind of toss out all the other reporting we've been doing, all the other progress that Trey Lance has made. I think he still looks mechanically better. I think he still hasn't proven that he can take it to live action with pads and actual game action, but I thought he passed the first test here during OTAs, and that was port what he's been working on in the lab with Jeff Christensen to an 11-on-11 field. And for the most part, I mean, Trey Lance did that. We didn't see a whole lot of interceptions. They talked about Jair Brown picking off almost 5 passes in this offseason program, but those didn't come on the days that we were there. The media was watching, and it wasn't specified if they came off of Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, or Brandon Allen. So, I thought for the most part it seemed like Trey Lance did a good job taking care of the football over the course of the offseason program. And today, to me, that ugly play on his part and the spectacular return from Kerry Hyder, the big man touchdown, which I think football fans should all celebrate, that was the exception and not the norm. But we're still so early in this whole process. There's this compulsion, this massive compulsion from people to be prisoners of the moment, to judge every single practice and then every single throw in the case of this Hyder throw, and take it and use it to judge Trey Lance's entire career as a quarterback. But it's not going to even set the 49ers quarterback competition. People want a resolution so quickly to, I guess, uncertainty of the 49ers quarterback position. And because they want a resolution so quickly, they're taking every single data point and making it 100 times bigger than it actually is. When Kyle Shanahan, from the very start, And I mean, this has continued even past the very start to today when he wrapped up the offseason program. Kyle Shanahan has emphasized that OTAs and this mini camp, they're only the pregame show for training camp. Nobody's going to make any actual moves. Nobody did make any actual moves in a 49ers quarterback battle in OTAs or veteran minicamp. Just wasn't going to happen. They're in shorts. They're trying stuff out. They're getting acclimated to playing football again in a team setting. The magic doesn't really start until late July, and then not until August, really, because they're not going to put on pads until about a week into training camp. So this idea that we were going to find out more than just seeing Trey Lance's throwing motion, than just seeing how he is carrying himself after the months of work from Jeff Christensen after all that rehab. The idea that we were going to see more than that was always insane. And I guess some people might have tried to feed that to you, that we would see more because, yes, it does sell clicks. It does get people riled up. But we've got to have some perspective here. It's just a very small blip in a much larger story. It's like judging the Super Bowl based on the first commercial before kickoff, right? Like we're we're not even at the game portion of this yet, literally so. So I will say that Trey has improved because the mechanics have improved, and that's what he needed to improve at. But he still has to sustain the improvement into the time that actually matters. This was just all fun and games, getting the feet wet. We had fun watching Kerry Hyder with the pick six. We had fun watching Trey Lance deliver a nice deep throw to George Kittle today. That was 7-on-7 work, so it wasn't on 11-on-11 work. So again, it's not in the realm of what he's going to have to actually show during the course of the regular season when he's going to have to beat normal defenses if he's the 49ers quarterback, the one playing. But he did show nice touch on a nice deep throw to George Kittle. And we can just take it for what it's worth. We can say that's what happened. We don't have to read any further into it. All right, let me answer some questions. I was on that field today, so I'm happy to answer any questions here from, by the way, those of you just joining, just to show you where I'm at. I'm at the Austin airport, Austin, Texas. And if I do this, then you guys can see my screen behind me. That's not really good. Oh, maybe if I do this, you can. Yeah, this isn't terrible. So post your questions. I'm going to put this up on the screen. I'm on a layover, that's why. And I only have a couple more minutes of this layover, so I'm going to have to get going here in a little bit. Yes, there is still time and space to see what the situation actually is. All the quarterbacks are having to deal with expectations that are mostly misset given what these guys are doing. This is it too early for these kinds of expectations. Slow down, guys. Yes, exactly. Dennis Wilson, my type of guy. Jacob Gordon says, iron sharpens iron. Even if he doesn't win the starting job, Trey can still sharpen his teeth against the starting defense in practice. I hope we have another great QB room. That ultimately is the goal. There's a lot of people cheering for individual quarterbacks, whereas the 49ers are cheering for a room of strong quarterbacks so that they're armed with options when the season happens. Lance does need to keep working over the next month. I mean, I thought it was a good start for him. I thought that he had significantly improved mechanics. I've talked this whole video about it, but I think it is very, very important that now he takes the momentum, because he has applied some of it on the field now. He takes that momentum and translates it into true muscle memory. That's the key for Trey Lance. His mechanical improvements have to become true muscle memory so he can fall back on them when opponents and pass rushers can actually hit him. It's a long process again. Who stood out the most today at rookie minicamp? Oh, Kerry Hyder, that pick six of Trey Lance. That was a spectacular play. But Brandon Ayuk is standing out every single time he's on the field. Theodore Lenore even said he's going to announce his presence as a top 5 wide receiver this year. What does Trey have to do to be the starter over Purdy and Darnold? Show that he can be the more efficient quarterback. He hasn't been close to that so far in his NFL career. Brock Purdy was a top 5 efficiency guy last year. I don't know what Sam Darnold's going to be in the 49ers system, but Brock Purdy set a damn high bar. Trey Lance is going to have to be a star to surpass Brock Purdy. That's why Brock Purdy is the leader in the clubhouse if he can replicate last season's performance, right? That's what it earned him. So that's what Trey Lance has to show. It's a really high bar, but guys can also be hurt, and then he can also usurp the job that way, right? You don't know what the path can potentially be until the path actually materializes in front of you, which is why you just have to give yourself a shot. It's football, right? It's unpredictable. And in the case of Trey Lance, he's got to just give himself the best shot to compete and see what happens, because that's what happens in the 49ers quarterback room. It was a total mess last season. I don't think the interception was tapped. I think he just threw it right into Hyder's chest. It was just one of those defensive linemen wreaking havoc in the backfield, and all hell broke loose kind of plays. Right now, Oren Burks is playing really well, the veteran. I think he's ahead on the pecking order of the 49ers' other couple linebackers. You know, the guys they drafted, Jalen Graham, D. Winters. I'm in Texas right now, speaking of that. D. Winters went to TCU up the road here. I'm in Austin, though, on this layover. But Oren Burks, he had a nice PBU covering Christian McCaffrey the other day. Obviously, the special teams is going to ensure that he's on this roster, but we'll see if the rookies can make a move come training camp. Not much of a birthday celebration for Christian McCaffrey. He's 27 years old now. I think what Trey Lance does in preseason games is not going to be as important as what he puts on tape in actual training camp practices. It's going to be making decisions the way Kyle Shanahan wants him to make decisions. It's how Kyle Shanahan determines the quarterback spot. I'm not sure about this. I would think the 49ers would want Purdy to show that he's shaken off some rust, but these hypotheticals are really just useless right now because we don't know. We don't know the exact timetable, and once we know the exact timetable, then we'll have a determination. So hypothesizing about stuff right now is just a big waste of time. I think my brain power is a little bit more valuable than to entertain it for right now. Should the 49ers consider Garoppolo if Oakland rejects him? Oakland won't reject him. Oakland wants Garoppolo, and he's on track to be cleared. So that's another hypothetical that's not really worth it right now. All right, everybody, thank you for watching. Quick live here from the Austin airport. 49ers minicamp is over. Trey Lance has improved. I think the improvement mechanically has been significant. That doesn't mean that it's set in stone. He's got to try to set in stone over the next 7 weeks or so before he reports back for training camp, where it's going to get to be a lot of fun. All right, we'll check in with you guys from the studio in Nashville. Right now, we'll say bye here from the airport in Austin. A little layover live. We'll talk to you soon. Everybody check out my article on Twitter, Athletic. Wrote about today's practice as well back in Santa Clara. Like and subscribe, and take care.